Hey, what's up you guys? How's it going? Happy spooky season. It's Rosie. Today, I come to you wearing the only piece of spooky clothing I own, not because I'm a Disney adult, because it's the Twilight Tower of Terror. Look at I'm spooked. I've had this for 10 years. I'm surprised I still have it. But I wanted to do a little compilation spooky vlog type video for you of the fun spooky things I've been doing this fall. If you don't know, I'm huge on the supernatural. I think it's very, very obvious that I'm into all things like creepy, spooky, ooky, ghosty. And so this is naturally my favorite season. This year I went out of my way to do as much as I possibly could. And I normally am a huge like thriller, horror movie type gal. I was really caught up in the Warrior Cat series this year, so my new reads for fall have been a bit lackluster in that area. But I did have a chance to go do some fun fall activities, and then I have some old tried and true classic favorites that I will share with you that are just, you know, Halloween spooky themed. Pretty much if you have listened to any of my favorites in my monthly resets, it's just a combination of all those things put together for your leisurely viewing. But first, I want to show you the cool things I've done. I have two specific evenings that I will be sharing right now in vlog form. The first, I went to the Haunted Objects Podcast live show at the Stanley Hotel, which was quite honestly one of the coolest nights of my life. Like, it was so sick. It was such a gorgeous place, like a beautiful little town. And on top of that, I got to meet Greg and Dana, and they were so nice, and I'm literally like almost crying about it right now, like we're getting ready to talk about it. But they were so cool, and they're such like innovators in their field, and I have literally used them in museum papers to talk about how they run their museum and how different it is. And it was so awesome to get the chance to meet them and tell them that and just like have a little chat. They were so nice. And yeah, so I have footage from that evening that I will share right here, and just enjoy the vibe. I'm so hyped, and then I'm literally in shock. So have fun going on this roller coaster. So if you know me as a person, or just have listened to any of the monthly favorites I've put out, you would know that I'm a big fan of the paranormal. It's just something I've always been interested in growing up as a kid. And I just love listening to and watching stuff about paranormal. So I have mentioned them before, but Greg and Dana Newkirk are a couple who run the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and Occult. I believe that's the proper name. I've been listening to their podcast for a few months. I've watched both seasons of Hellier and their documentary, The Unbinding. Just watched it for the third time last night with Kenan, and I've watched Hellier twice. I love the way they approach the paranormal and sort of navigate the space about it, and their theories about stuff, and they just are cool, and I like what they do. And they have the Haunted Objects Podcast, and that is one of my favorite podcasts. I've listened through the whole thing twice, and I just can't get enough of them. I love them. So when I found out that they were coming to Colorado, I was like, hey. Kenan actually got us tickets to their show at the Stanley, which is so insane. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, which is where, you know, The Shining was conceptualized by Stephen King. It is meant to be very haunted. It is just like everything spooky, and so many people have gone there. So many ghost hunters, so many, you know, even non-ghost hunters who are like, I want to try to ghost hunt. They go there. Actually, fun fact, that's where the Estes method, which is like a really popular ghost hunting, like, they call it like psychic communication, but through the radio. The Estes method is this method, of course, where one person puts on a blindfold and headphones so they can't hear or see anything, and the headphones are linked into a spirit box, which is just sort of like a radio that goes through all the radio stations, like rolls through them all, and someone else is asking questions, and it's meant to be that if the ghost wants to talk to you, they can talk through the spirit box, and then the blindfolded person will be able to, you know, just say what they hear. So it's sort of like an extra conduit, I guess, for like ghost hunting. and it's very cool. I've seen it on, you know, Watcher, Shane and Ryan, they use it a lot. Okay, my arm is getting very tired, 1 second. Okay, that is much better. I put you on a tripod. But the Estes method was actually created by these 2 guys, Carl and Connor, who were resident ghost hunters at the Stanley. And it's called the Estes method because the Stanley is in Estes Park. And they, Carl and Connor, are essentially like Greg and Dana's partners in the podcast. They helped create Hellier. They helped create The Unbinding. Yeah, so they're like a little squad, and they all met at the Stanley. So this is gonna be a really cool show, and I'm hoping all of them are there. Greg and Dana have to be there because it's their show, but I would assume that Carl and Connor would be there too because, you know, little reunion moment. They both live in Colorado. It makes sense. So we are going to see that tonight. We're gonna see the Haunted Objects live show where they, I think, are bringing the objects that they've spoken about on the podcast, perhaps some other ones, perhaps it's just a talk. They didn't really explain what it was, just that they would be there and objects would be there as well. So I'm so excited about that, and I'm so excited to go to Stanley. The town looks gorgeous, like Estes Park, the actual town. It's just like idyllic, like serene. So we're gonna go a little bit early, walk around, and just vibe. And I'm so excited. It's gonna be so cool. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you enjoy getting in the fun Halloween mood with me. But yeah, first, before we go, I have to do some homework, which is the scariest part of all. So I'm gonna do that, and I will catch up with you when we're ready to head up to Estes Park. Okay, we are officially ready to go. I just finished my homework and we are out the door. This is real quick, real quick fit check. Sunglasses, Prada. This is the dress I thrifted in New York from Monkey, but it's from Plus Brooklyn. Big fan. This is from Old Navy. I'm just wearing my Docs, so off we go. It is an 1.5-hour drive, so hopefully won't be too bad. It's like 3 p.m. We have plenty of time to go look around. We've made it, and it is stunning. It is so beautiful here, it's kind of sickening. Like, look at the foliage. I'm deceased. A classic small town. Wow. It's like a Christmas ornament. Jeez. That's where we're headed. Yes, I want to go in there. Looks cute. This whole place looks cute, man. Love me a good river. I want to jump in. I know that's not a good idea. Here we are. We're at the Stanley Hotel, and we're gonna see some ghosts. I'm manifesting now.
This is the Statue of Liberty of Colorado.
100%.
Because it's pretty small.
Yeah.
Small.
Small. We have made it to the historic Stanley Hotel. Epic.
No shot, we get a spot right here.
Deadass. Deadass though, good start. We're gonna see a ghost tonight. I'm expounding upon this look and saying we are gonna see a ghost tonight.
It's just now 6? I suppose we got here at 5.
Yeah. Probably no roses in the rose garden right now, huh?
Probably right now. But do you want to take it under the light in this gazebo?
Sure. I took Ken into a haunted location and he's clowning me because it's supposed to be a haunted location, so fuck you. We're seeing. Maybe. Perhaps. Let's see. I did bring my EMF detector. Oh. Oh, some spikes. Who is she? She's angry, I'll tell you that.
She's angry, but still a little bit scared.
Anything. Do we got anything going on here? Any ghosties, anything? There's a kid in swim trunks running behind us. I don't think he's a ghost though. I have a shining ball. That's cool. Wow. Stanley stew. Oh, it's all old. Oh. That's cool. Old cashier. The tunnel. Oh, this is the tunnel. It's in the Ghost Adventures episode. Where they get EVPs. Oh, you can't even look through it. Damn. Okay. Well, here we go. Haunted. Maybe. Cool. This bar is really cool. Sick. Any ghosts? I guess we'll find out. I asked where we were going to be sitting, and Ken showed me the tickets, and it's VIP meet and greet tickets. And I didn't know about this until right now, and I have 20 minutes to prepare for this. I don't know what I'm going to say, and I'm panicking.
I'm not panicking.
You don't care.
That's
I
not true.
care. You don't, well, these are not like people you've been listening to and rewatched all of their stuff 3 times in 3 months.
That's true.
I'm a lot more invested in this.
That is true.
There are tears.
There should not be tears.
I'm freaking out.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Are you ready to meet them? What are you gonna say?
Hi.
You don't know. You don't care.
Be like, hi. My girlfriend's a big fan.
Here we go. Pretty sunset. We're going to the old carriage house, which has now been changed into like their little theater station.
There's red room on the top.
It says Red Room on the top. Happy Halloween, everyone. It took me so long to understand that that was murder backwards.
Oh, really?
I was like, why are they so scared of a red room? What's up with that? No, I understand now. Spooky, spooky. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my God, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, okay. It's not even rabbit.
Good evening and welcome to Haunted Objects Live at the Stanley Hotel. Please, no flash photography or video recording during the show.
Did you do anything yet? Wait,
I don't think so.
They got time.
It takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Really put some thought into it.
Oh, I know what's going on.
Give it to it.
Are you good? Okay, so we just left and we talked to them and they were really nice. They said they liked our vibes and our outfits.
Yeah, really awesome people.
They were really cool. They answered Kennan's question about
Oh yeah.
like energy sucking versus energy, creating. Essentially,
Yeah. So
a grounder.
right. Well, one of the chief principles of science, one of Newton's laws, is that for every action there's an equal opposite reaction. So for everybody putting intention out into the magnetic field or whatever they were talking about, there must be something that takes it out. And I feel like typically that's probably what these objects are doing that's causing them to be haunted. But I am feeling like that I am sort of one of these grounding poles of sort of no intention, I guess.
Neutral space.
Yeah, and apparently their director friend Carl is the same way.
Yeah. You definitely give Carl vibes. 100%. It's good. No, Carl's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Carl.
But yeah, and I got to tell them that I used them in a project for my museum course, and they were really nice, and they said they wanted to read it, which was really nice. And yeah, I'm still freaked out about it. I'm speaking so weirdly. I just feel like I can't stop talking, but also I want to stop talking. So I'm going to stop talking. And my arm hurts. Okay, this was really cool. Thanks. Love you. So that was one of the best nights of my life. I had so much fun. Thank you to Kenan for getting me those tickets, and just, he did not know that we were meeting them. So that's even funnier that we ended up doing it. But it was so great. I keep thinking about it. I love them. Okay. Time to calm down. The next fun, spooky night I want to share with you is literally happening. It happened this Friday. It happened 2 days ago when I'm talking to you right now. But I went on a fun little ghost tour with Kenan around the Capitol Hill area of Denver. And it was really fun. I went on the Denver Terrors extended haunted tour. We were with like a lot of kids. I did not expect there to be that many people, but literally getting there were like 4 groups meeting at once. It was kind of insane. The tour was really good. Our 2 guides, Olivia and Jake, were great. And then we had the little extended tour at the end that was just Jake, and that was nice too. One of the tour guides that's in, like, you'll see in the opening footage, there's a ton of groups meeting. One of the tour guides there is actually in a Ghost Adventures episode for one of the stops we went on at the tour. So that was cool, fun to watch. And yeah, so that was really, it was a good time. I love, obviously, history, and I love spooky things. And so combining the two, especially in a place where I live, I love knowing the lore. Like, give me the lore. If you have lore, I want it. So this was just really a good, all right. This was just like a good, perfect, fun little walking evening. It was a fun little date night. I digged it. It was good. So please enjoy seeing some of the spooky places of Colorado, specifically Denver Capitol Hill. Hi besties, we're on to the next part of the spooky vlog. Tonight we are going on a ghost tour, and I'm very excited about this. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. We're going on just a Denver Cap Hill area ghost tour, which is where a lot of the spooky old stuff is anyway. So I'm excited. I will be taking you along. We'll see if anything spooky actually happens. They had an option to rent an EMF meter, but I have one already, so I will be bringing it. But we're just gonna go to dinner first and then go have a spooky evening. So let's go. Haunted. We have just finished the ghost tour. We did the extended version, so we got like 4 extra stories. And what was your review out of 10? 10 being absolutely terrifying, shit yourself. 0 being I knew all of this already and simply found it funny.
Well, as a skeptic, it's hard to get me above a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
But it does feel bad for the people who are doing their jobs, because it makes it seem like I think they did a terrible job, which they did not do. They did a great job.
No, yeah.
But in terms of like scariness, probably a 2.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree. I'd say like about a 2. No, I'll give them a 3 because they had some pictures. They had like 2 pretty creepy pictures.
They did have pictures
of some of the places. Not super scary. It was more just like a cool history walking tour, but emphasis on the ghosty stories attached. Saw a house that Ghost Adventures went to, so I will be watching the episode tonight when we go home. And we had a tour guide named Jake with Denver Terrors, and he was very good.
We also had Olivia.
Yes,
and for the first part, and she was really good.
She was also very good. So nice. Okay, and to round out this video, I wanted to share some of my favorite spooky pieces of media, things that are just generally unsettling and fun. So a lot of these things are things I've either just discovered in the past year or are like long time favorites. So this is just sort of a collection of everything in one handy dandy place for you to refer to if you're ever like, huh, I want something spooky. I know Rosie likes spooky. What should I watch? This is for you. Number 1, our first category is television shows. So I just finished watching The Fall of the House of Usher by Mike Flanagan. That shit was so good. I ate it up. I watched it in like 2 days. Mike Flanagan shows are just stunning, always. The details are always so like intricate and beautifully woven together. The actors, so good. I love his rotating cast. The characters, fantastic. I love that he takes existing stories, modernizes them, but still makes them work so well, and then loves to like draw from other pieces of media related to the original. So for example, Fall of the House of Usher is it's an Edgar Allan Poe story. I don't know if it's a full book. I believe it is. I haven't actually read the full book. I'm familiar with the premise, but that is it. And in the Fall of the House of Usher series, he takes all of these different pieces from Edgar Allan Poe's other stories, such as The Telltale Heart and the Cask of Amontillado, and he puts them in and makes them like very important parts of this story of the Fall of the House of Usher, and it was just so beautifully done. I could not stop watching it. Stunning. Fantastic. Also, like, almost everyone is queer, which is a huge win in my book. I feel like more people were queer than not, which, I mean, I'll take it. Thank you. Along the same lines, The Haunting of Hill House, first Mike Flanagan thing I ever watched. The best still, in my opinion. It's just so good. I've watched it 3 times now. The most recent time was like this past summer, I think, just because I wanted to see it again. Oh, so beautiful, all the ghosts in every single shot, the characters, oh my god, I just can't get over it. So if you're a Mike Flanagan girly and you've watched his other stuff, The Fall of the House of Usher is fantastic. If you haven't seen any of his stuff yet, I'd say start at Haunting of Hill House, then The Fall of the House of Usher, and then watch the others, because the others are okay. The others are good. Midnight Mass was good. I could not make it through Bly Manor, unfortunately, but that's my own problem. That's no one else's, not Mike's. So, and then my next show is Yellow Jackets, obviously. I watched that one this year. So good, so unhinged. This team of girls on a high school soccer team and their coach crash in the middle of I think it's the Canadian wilderness, and they have to fight to survive. And there's a lot of spooky elements of like, are they just going crazy, or is there like forest spirits? There's cult activity, there's cannibalism, there's a lot going on there. So highly recommend. I cannot wait for season 3. Also, the actors in that are fantastic. They do a really good job of matching up like the younger actors with their adult counterparts. Fantastic work. Next are movies / YouTube channel things. I'd say movies / YouTube media. So, of course, I gotta shout out Greg and Dana. The Unbinding, which is their newest documentary, which is actually on Prime Video. But it's about their work with the Catskill Crone. So good. Fantastically done. And then Hellier season 1 and season 2. I've watched that entirely through twice. Hellier is just like an absolute batshit insane ride. And it's very interesting, especially if you're someone who's interested in paranormal, because it is such a unique way to view paranormal occurrences and how they could possibly be all connected, and how we all are experiencing the same phenomena but like in different forms. I just found the way that they discuss it so interesting, and the way that they study it is so cool to me, and that really like sold me on them as ghost hunters. They're more just like investigators of paranormal. But those are free on YouTube. Hellier season 1 and season 2. Lots and lots of content there. I think there's like 4 episodes in the first one and like 10 in the second one, and each one's like an hour long at least. So if you're looking for something to put on and get spooked a bit, that's where you go. There's Mothman, there's goblins, there's lots of high strangeness. And then my final recommendation in this category is the YouTube channel The Lore Lodge. Aiden Mattis, and then he has another partner named Aiden who works on these with him. Aiden Mattis is like the presenter, and he's the historian behind it all, and then the other Aiden helps with editing and like researching. And they cover lots of missing 411, true crime type stuff, lots of mysterious things that can't be explained. I love that it's called The Lore Lodge. We know I'm here for some lore. And they just do a really good job of historically analyzing things based on the facts, and then taking into account the possible theories that people come up with related to the supernatural. And I find it very interesting to see like a historian's perspective, because he's got his dates, he's got his facts, he's got his research, and then he's like, but this shit is weird, what could it be? And he takes into account all of the possible strange things that could be going on. So he has a lot of videos. Highly recommend checking that channel out. Our next section is podcasts. Once again, Greg and Dana, Haunted Objects podcast, shout out. Only one season, there's not that many episodes, but they're all, once again, really well researched, and they're about things that they actually have in their collection. So they have personal experiences with them, which I find really cool. And they're just like a fun duo to listen to. They're a married couple, and it's fun to listen to them talk. And then they also have a couple other people from like the Hellier team, and they have this new intern, and I don't know, they're just a fun group. I like how they present things. Otherworld has to be my favorite podcast that I found this year, I think, next to Haunted Objects podcast. Otherworld is done by this guy named Jack, and he used to be a comedian, and then out of nowhere he decided, I want to do a paranormal podcast. And he didn't really think it would take off or anything like that, but it's been so successful that he has started, you know, like a Patreon, and he does these really well produced, long, multi-series, like multi-episode series of paranormal stories, where he interviews firsthand accounts from people, and then he tries to talk to as many people as possible, like involved, get all the points of view, try to get as much real history around it as he can, because he is sort of like a skeptic who is open. He's like, I'm never assuming anything is actually paranormal, so he only really goes after the stories that truly cannot be debunked to him, that he cannot figure out, which I like, because he has a very high standard, and so the stuff he presents is like batshit crazy, and that's my type of stuff. I'm on their Patreon. I'm also on the Haunted Objects Patreon, but that's a whole separate like museum membership Patreon, which is cool. But the Otherworld Patreon is fantastic. Highly recommend. Next is Drinking the Kool-Aid, another Patreon favorite. That is Cassidy and Amanda, and they're just two gals living in LA. They're comedians, actresses, but they cover just general, you know, spooky, strange things, unexplainable events. And I like that they're not a super strict formula, whereas a lot of other podcasts are like, I only cover, like, one person will cover true crime and one person will cover paranormal, which one of those I talk about later. And I like that they just sort of switch it up, and it's just whatever they're feeling. And they have very, very funny banter, because they've been best friends for like 10 years. They used to live together. They are just a good time. And their Patreon is also really good, because they do a lot of like not live, but like they do a lot of watch along special episodes. And that is actually how I found Hellier, because I listened to their episodes on watching Hellier, and I was like, oh, I want to take a look. And they're how I found Greg and Dana. So shout out Cassidy, Amanda, thank you guys, love you so much. Next, Sinisterhood. Sinisterhood is a classic. It's done by another set of comedians based in the Dallas area, Heather and Christy. And the way they do it is they present one story, frequently like multi-episode long series as well, which I like. And they go super in depth in this one story. Christy presents it, and then Heather actually was a lawyer as well as a comedian, so she gives a lot of really good insight on like legal proceedings and like how the law should handle these things. So they do a lot of true crime type stuff, and Heather gives like the perspective of the actual like legal side, which I appreciate. I find that very interesting. And they also have very funny banter. They're very, very enjoyable to listen to, and I love them. Okay, and then we have And That's Why We Drink, which is like one of my OG paranormal podcasts. Em and Christine are two friends from grad school, and they used to live together in LA. Now they live far apart, but the way they do it is Em does a paranormal story and Christine does a true crime story every single week. They present to each other. The other person doesn't know what they're doing, and so it's just sort of a fun like listen, react type storytelling podcast. And so I also really like their friendship. It's just fun. You get to listen to them become like really close friends over the years, and like I just love that. And so they have covered so many things. They've been doing the podcast for 6, I think going on 7 years, so they have covered so much stuff that I feel like every other podcast I've listened to after theirs, I've listened to an episode on the topics from them first. And so I find that fun. I don't know. I love to hear the same stories but presented different ways. Like, that's very interesting to me, which I know for some people it won't be. Like, Kenan doesn't get that. He's like, you've heard this already. Why are you listening to it again? But it's because people present them differently. And the same story, that's the whole thing about stories, is that they're all different points of view. So if you have a different point of view to offer, I want to hear it. And then my final one is Witch BBC, which was actually recommended by Bestie Marissa. Thank you, girl. It is 13-episode miniseries put out by the BBC, and it's about this girl, India, who goes on a hunt to figure out a hunt, lol, to gather a lot of information on how, specifically the UK, but overall the general world climate around witches has changed since the witch trials. Through current day, and she interviews in pretty much every single episode, I think, different current practitioners, and they all practice different kinds of witchcraft, whether it's like very small, like daily little rituals, to they are practicing witches and that is their business. They cover tarot, they cover different like group rituals. It's very cool, and they go over all of the different holidays, because I think she did the series over the course of like 6 months to a year, so she has a couple different experiences with the different I guess, are they, I don't know, some are Celtic, some are just general pagan holidays that witches celebrate, and I loved it. It was very cool. She got in touch with her witchy side. One of the producers on her show was a witch, so they hung out a lot, and as someone who's very interested in the way witchcraft works, especially as a modern person, because it seems like something that was left in the past and then you find out it's still being practiced today, I find that incredibly intriguing and I want to learn a lot more about it. I definitely am interested recently in learning about spirituality that is not related to Christianity. As someone who grew up Catholic and was in Catholic school for 13 years, I know all that. I'm good there. I want to find out about the other stuff that's going on, which is honestly a lot of what comes up in these other podcasts as well. So I just, big fan, and it's a pretty quick read. So it's a pretty quick listen. So I recommend, especially around this time of year, it's very good. And obviously it's the BBC, so it's impeccably produced. It's stunning. And also the music they use is like chilling. Like, they have a lot of vocals. It's just really nice. And then we're gonna finish this off with two of my favorite scary books. We're gonna keep it short here. The first is Bunny by Mona Awad. I can talk about this book for hours. It is about a grad school student named Sam, and all of her classmates are these girls called the Bunnies. And they're all in a creative writing master's class in like New England, I believe. And Sam slowly, over the course of one of her years, joins the Bunnies, and things get a little weird. It's like Mean Girls, but terrifying. And there's magic, and there's scary stuff, and there's drugs, and there's just a lot going on. And it's very magical realism, which I love. So if you're into that, give Bunny a try. Things just go out of control. You kind of don't know what's real, what's not for a long time. And I dig that kind of story. So if you do too, give it a go. And finally, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I've talked about that book tons of times on this channel, in real life. Anyone who will listen to me, I will talk about it. But brief synopsis, I read it over a year ago, so I can't remember her first name, but the main character inherits a house from her family, and she goes back, and she had lived in it as a kid. They had to abandon because it was haunted, and she's like, there's no way, really, it was haunted. She goes back, she starts fixing it up, and then she's like, wait, is it like actually haunted? Like, weird stuff starts happening to her again, and she's like, holy shit. But then there's also so much other thriller elements to it that you're kind of like, is it haunted? Is it a real person fucking with her? What's going on? And you genuinely don't know until the last page. And it switches so many times to which seems real. And I love that. The mindfuckery in this was really great. It is Riley Sager's best book by far. I think I've read every single one of his other ones. There might be like one that I haven't. Yeah, I think there's only one, but out of all of his other ones, it is the only one that has gotten 5 stars for me. Also House Across the Lake, but that's completely different. That's not as spooky. It is spooky, but not a favorite spooky. Anyways, that is my little list of spooky, ooky favorites. And, you know, if you're looking for some fun, creepy media to consume in the next week or two, give some of them a go. I cannot recommend them enough. And if you try any of them, please leave me a comment. I want to know what you think. I would love to have a discussion about any of this with you. I need to talk to someone about all of this. So please let me know below and I will gladly engage. I hope you enjoyed coming along on my fun Halloween October journey. Seeing some fun spooky vlog footage, hearing some cool recs, and I just love spooky things. So I will hopefully be incorporating more in the future when I have more time, when we're not in the middle of moving and life is chaos. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you. I hope you're having a fabulous whatever time of day you're in, and I will talk to you very soon. Happy Halloween. Bye.